I'm coming. Hey everybody, it's Ginger on Wheels here again. Thanks for stopping by our channel where we get to test and unbox the latest electrically wheeled gadgets. Today, for testing and review, we have got the E-TWOW GT SE. Stands for Smart Edition because it's got a little app. And it was provided to me by eWheels for unboxing and review. I guess I should say something before we get too started. And that is that just because this scooter was provided to me by eWheels does not mean I'm about to be biased. I'm not about to open this scooter up and show you B-roll footage and then read off the manufacturer specs and make you really want to buy one. This is Ginger on Wheels channel. I'm going to unbox the scooter exactly as I would if you were here. I'm going to show you what the scooter has to offer and all the features, and I'm going to give you my opinion on them as an actual scooter enthusiast. And this scooter really does have me intrigued. It's got a 700 watt single motor. It's got an alleged top speed of 25 miles an hour. And most impressively, it has a 20-mile range at 15 miles an hour, which for a 500 watt-hour scooter is going to be pretty impressive. So I'm excited to get this thing taken out of the box. What do you say we roll the intro and start digging around in here? Alrighty, so here it is, the E-TWOW GT SE. I'm going to use the official Ginger on Wheels box cutter that is not ginger colored, it's green because that's my actual favorite color, to open the box. And this is the box it will ship to you in. It is, unmarked, so no one's going to steal it off your porch without knowing that it's a scooter first. And it is a box in a box type situation. The little silica packet here. Okay, so looks like it might have been upside down.
So keep in mind while I lift the scooter around that it does only weigh 28 pounds, which I'm pretty sure is the best speed to weight ratio of any scooter on the market.
Okay, this is what it looks like when we get it out of the box. Let's see what kind of charger and manual we get. Okay, so inside the box you've got scooter. Got a little box here. Let's see what's inside. And this is going to be the charger. I think I saw on the website, if I'm not mistaken, this thing charges in 2.5 hours, which means this must be some sort of smart, fasty charger. Let's see how many amps it puts out. Yeah, a little 3-amp charger. Okay, so I've never seen one of these scooters in person before, and I have no idea how they fold and unfold, but let's just see if I can figure it out. I'll give you an idea of how intuitive it is or is not. So it has some sort of latching hook in the rear here. Okay, so to unhook the piece in the back, this is so you can pick the scooter up. The handlebars lock onto the rear fender, but if you push the rear fender down, you can lift the handlebars up off those. And then in the front here, yep, it's got a little lever and a locking latch. So I'm guessing if we shove these forward really far, then the scooter will lock into place. Let's see. Yep, booyah. Charge port is right here, above the latch piece. The charge cover works and it goes into the hole, but it's not very easy to get in there. Kind of janky. So I can tell you right off the bat that this scooter is not for riding in the rain or the elements. This looks like a dry weather commuter scooter. And I can tell that because the grip tape on here is like this rubber slick mat that's going to get slippery when it's wet. The tires are solid. They do have tread on them, so they probably won't do too bad, but they're not going to give you outstanding grip. It does have some suspension. I'm pretty impressed with that. It's got a little spring here, and then, oh yeah, underneath you can see it's got a rear spring suspension right there, at the wheel. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this is the manual that it comes with. It's got a battery charger instructions, so those go with that. A full-on user manual, very lengthy. It does have all the specs here. Interesting. No, I lied. Troubleshooting section with error codes, tells you all about the battery and charger, cleaning and maintenance, safe riding techniques. Oh yeah, baby. That's pretty cool. This is a new handlebar system I've never seen before. So there's a little button right here that's covered in the rubber from the hand grip, and you push that button and pull, and the handlebar comes out, you can slide it down the stem. And then it just kind of goes in automatically by itself. It does make a little bit of a clanking noise, but it stays in. Okay, so the stem, it does have a clamp here, and it looks and acts like most adjustable scooters, but it has two locking holes right here for the stem to slide into. There's a little pin on the stem. See, it's down here now. When I slide it up, it'll come out here. Boop. So there's two heights for the handlebars, tall people and short people. And once you get it clipped into your hole, and I'm a tall people hole, so I'll leave it here, you tighten this side of the clamp and then clamp this baby down. It has a brake lever here, and this actuates the rear brake, which is a drum brake. And this is a very cool display. I haven't seen a display like this before. Let me show you what this looks like up close.
Ooh, on second thought, let's film this intro for so long that the camera battery actually dies and corrupts the rest of the video. That way I can just show you B-roll footage and music until we get to riding. Wait, does this count as porn? I'm gonna turn this off before we get canceled from YouTube. Alright everybody, welcome to my phone and operating the E-TWOW app that's on my Galaxy phone here, and I'm gonna turn the scooter on. I know you can't see that, but trust me, I'm pushing the power button and the scooter's now on. So I'm gonna go to connect and click the little button that says connect. And the first time you connect your scooter, you'll have to pair it, and it will automatically show up, and you just tap it and click connect and it will pair. When you first download the app, you will have to create an account when you want to connect to your scooter using Bluetooth, and the scooter is connected to that account. And in order to use the scooter with a different account, so if you sell the scooter to somebody, you're gonna have to contact E-TWOW support and have them disconnect the scooter from and unpair the scooter from the app. So this is what you're gonna see when you log into the app and you connect to your scooter. You can see we've got a speedometer, battery gauge, odometer, tripometer, and some features and functions. The LED lights, and that turns on the front headlight of the scooter. We've got a 0 start button. When the button is colorized, it means that you have to push the scooter before the throttle will actually work. So we're gonna turn that off because I like to not push scooters. And then it's got a lock feature, which I was just experimenting with, and check this out. If you turn it on, you can hear the scooter right now, but this is me pushing it slowly. It has like a little alarm function, and on top of that, the motor is sort of locked up. There's a ton of resistance on the motor too, so when you push it, it's really hard to push and it makes that noise. But that's what the lock feature does. And they've got a little news section that the app opens up to. This is E-TWOW news specifically about the scooter company in general. And then you can see Ben Fox chewing on his, or you can go swipe right and open the Electric World page, which has got a ton of cool news just about EVs in general, which is, I learned about this Tesla bus. Check out this van life thing. That looks so sweet. Oh my God. Probably cost a fortune. Anyway, back to the scooter. Okay, so it appears that's all the functions there are to explore inside the app. Two little quirks that I discovered. If you get locked out of your account, it was impossible for them to reset my password, so I had to create a new account with a new email address to log in and use my scooter with the app, so it was kind of annoying. For whatever reason, it just said that my account didn't exist, even though I know it does. Like I mentioned, I toggled my scooter into miles per hour, and the app is still showing kilometers per hour for some reason. When I accelerate, the scooter will show 4.3 miles per hour, and right now the app is showing 4.3 kilometers per hour. If you click on the setting, the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner of the app right now, you can toggle the units right there. Imperial and metric. So that means in order to toggle back and forth, you have to actually switch it on the scooter and in the app. So fun tidbit there. On the scooter, there is a method you can do to change it into miles per hour. Once the scooter's on, you hold the S button and the power button at the same time to go into the toggle mode, and then you hit the S button again and it'll switch it into miles per hour. It doesn't appear there's any speed settings on the scooter, like a slow and a super mode or a boost or sport or turbo or dual or anything like that. It's just one speed for the whole scooter. But let's lift the front tire off the ground and see how fast the free spin is. According to the app, the tire actually does spin up really slowly, even though it's free spinning. It looks like 23.8 miles per hour on about a 60% charge, 24 maybe. And that's with no load at all. So you can set the speed limit if you want one, just by pushing that little up caret on top of the 0 start button. So if you go to products and you click on details for our GT 2020 SE, we can see all the cool stats about our scooter. It's got an LED light, airless tires, LCD display, front and rear suspension, which is actually really nice. I'm a fan of the suspension. Bluetooth enabled, obviously. Magnetic brake. It's got the max speed of 40 kilometers per hour, range 50 kilometers. So in theory, I should be able to ride this thing at full throttle for a little over an hour. Battery, 48 volt, 10.5 amp hour Samsung, 700 watt. It's a front motor in this engine. The weight on the scooter is definitely one of the most impressive things. This scooter weighs as much as like really basic entry level. I think it's 28 pounds or 27 pounds or something. Pretty much anyone can lift the scooter and it folds into a really compact package. So portability is definitely one of the scooter's strong suits. It's what you're going to be paying a little bit more money for. That on top of the suspension. So yeah, it's just got all the different stats about your scooter in here if you're ever curious or want to show someone or look something up. Thought that was kind of neat.
Okay, that's enough about the app. Let's hop on the scooter and give it a whirl.
Okay, so here the scooter is outside the box. I'm sorry if it looks like the video just took a drop off a cliff in quality, and that would be because it did. We're on the GoPro now. Let me just give you a top-down overview of the scooter real quick, and then we'll get to a ride and I'll give you my first impressions of it. So the grips here are a rubber. They're sort of squishy. They feel like they'd be slippery when wet, but they do have some grip back here, so that's good. This throttle display, I'll show you a better picture of that later, but it's very intuitive. It's the first I've seen on a scooter. It's got some color in there. Shows you if your lights are on, the temperature, odometer, tripometer, and a full color display of the battery level. So that's cool. Yeah, so this hand lever works the rear drum brake, and this lever right here works a front electromagnetic brake. That's basically like the opposite of using the motor. This lever will activate the brake light. This lever will not. Important to keep that in mind. And the brake light, the lights are on right now, so I don't know if you can see, but this little LED is turned on, and then if you turn the lights off, that little LED will turn off, but that LED in the rear fender will activate when you're holding the rear brake. See, I'm holding it, not holding it. It's got a latch here that allows you to adjust the height, but only to 2 fixed heights. There's a height here and a height here, so short people and tall people. The cable management doesn't run through the stem like some scooters. It's got a little hook piece right here. It's like a metal circle just to hold the cable close to the stem tube. So right here, that's where the charge port is. And it's pretty tricky to get into there. Seems like it does an all right job, but it's not extremely easy. It doesn't just pop in. But I can tell that's not waterproof. This scooter, I can tell you just by inspecting it without ever having ridden it, is not for water. Even if it's a little wet out, I feel like it might be kind of sketchy. The user manual says not to ride it in over 4 centimeters of water, but I would just steer clear of water altogether. This doesn't look like a user-friendly scooter for wet. It does have a little bit of front suspension, maybe like 1 or 2 inches of travel in the front there. And it's got rear suspension that you can't see. There's a spring underneath that this axis sort of travels on. So it's very similar to the Highboy S2 Pro in that regard, except the Highboy has 2 springs. This just has 1 bigger spring. And just from bouncing on it, I can tell you this scooter is one of the only scooters sub 30 pounds that has suspension that I would actually say works. Scooters of this size in the 30-pound class that you bounce on normally are just like chunking up and down, and it doesn't seem like it has any damping or anything like that. It's just sort of like clunk, 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 clunk. But the scooter is very sort of floaty, if that makes sense. The 010X is the best for that, or the VSET 10 Plus is really good at it too. The deck here is very thin. It does have some red thingies on here, but these are just reflectors. These aren't lights. It's got a rubber mat on the top that's smooth. Got a little bit of curvature and texture here, but it's not going to keep your feet on when it's wet. This will be pretty slippery. And the rear fender, I don't know if I mentioned this before, it does act as a friction brake also. So you can step on this and it'll rub up against the solid tire and act as a brake. And that's just in case your electromagnetic brake fails and the rear drum brake fails. It's got little reflectors on the side here too. Those are kind of cool. Solid tires, so I didn't have to pump them up. Let's go ahead, I'll just shut up and start riding. How does that sound? My first impressions, let's go. Oh boy. How is that possible? How powerful is the motor on the 9X or the 09? Feels very similar in torquiness. Oh, this thing is quick. This is quick. Wow, this thing is zippy. See how the electromagnetic brakes work. Here we go, 28.5. Oh boy, yeah. If you're not ready for that, that'll make you crash. Powerful regen brakes. Fairly powerful motor. Very impressive on the motor here. I don't know if it's just the way that they have designed this front motor here, or maybe it's the fact that it's in the front, but it feels more powerful than the motor on the eMove Cruiser. Well, I think that's actually a 650 watt motor, so that would make sense, wouldn't it? This thing is nuts. Let me make sure this is actually 700 watts because I've done that before where I say it's a nominal wattage and then it turns out it's completely different. So the tires on the side here say 200 by 45. I'm assuming that's millimeters. And the motor are branded with the E-TWOW name, or E-TWOW. I hate that. Interesting, yeah, no writing on the motor that would indicate how many watts it is. The rear brake works with the rear drum brake, the lever over here. But when I squeeze it, the rear tire pretty much just immediately locks up. Like even right there, I'm locked up. It's good that they do have a front and a rear brake. So here's your front brake and then here's your rear brake. But neither of them is gonna be that one brake where you can just slam it and stop in an emergency. You're gonna have to remember to hit them both. Let's test out this friction brake. Oh yeah. So you can lock the rear tire up with the friction brake pretty easily too. They're just really skinny tires, so they're easy to lock up. I love the suspension. My favorite part about the scooter by far is the suspension. It knocks the Highboy S2 Pro out of the water. The 9bot Max obviously has no suspension, but it knocks the tube tires out of the water. The Highboy S2 Pro has spring suspension that doesn't even come close to this suspension. This is like actually pillowy. I love how collapsible and foldable it is. It feels just a little cheap, like the handlebars are just a little wiggly, and there is some play in the bars. Let me show you where. So if you push this button and then pull the bars out, they'll come out, right? But when they're clicked all the way in, they do still have, I don't know if you can see that, just a tiny bit of wiggle within this little bar here. It's definitely not bad. It doesn't make the scooter feel unsafe. It doesn't feel like a heavy-duty off-roading extreme sort of solid to the core type of scooter. It's just the nature of this, the folding mechanism in the top. And that's the case with any scooter. If you want it to be more portable and more collapsible, you're gonna have to sacrifice some structural integrity because there needs to be joints in places, right? I can collapse the scooter from full in like under 30 seconds. So you can just hop right off the bus with this thing and put it together immediately without looking like you don't know what you're doing, squatting down with your plumber's crack hanging out right by the bus stop. You can just bend down and put this thing together instantly. It's very nimble. There's a nice little hill over here. Let's see if it can make it up this hill. There's a speed bump coming up. Very smooth over the speed bump. It's going to absorb any little imperfections in the road and bumps up to about maybe 2 inches of height. Anything over 2 inches and you're going to have to pop the front tire off a little bit to get the scooter over it. But okay, so here's the hill I was talking about. I'm going to start from a stop at the base of this hill. And first I'm going to see if we can make it up, and then I'm going to see how steep it is because I have a little measuring thingy on my phone. Oh, it's climbing. This thing has real actual hill climbing power. This is cool. Let me bust out my phone and we can see exactly how steep this is. Okay, so I got this cool app called Angle Meter, and you can open it up and just place your phone down on a hill and it'll tell you the angle of the hill. Ready for this? Okay, so vertical, it looks like there is a 10-degree slope on this hill. And we were able to make it up. So the eMove Cruiser was struggling on a 7-degree hill. This thing has more hill climbing power than the eMove Cruiser, which costs like 50% more. 34 kph there again. The scooter speed spools up really slowly. It even does it with the tire lifted off the ground. Like the motor will go even when there's no weight on it. So, fun fact. Curious to test this headlight out when it gets a little darker. It's got a lot of LEDs on it and it looks bright from the top, but it doesn't look like the throw is there. It needs to be tilted down a little more. It's sort of like an LED bar where it just has like a nice little glow over everything instead of a fixed point. Yeah, that super torquey acceleration has now curved off quite a bit from the beginning. It still feels torquey, but not insane. Oh, those kind of sewers scare me legitimately. Check that out. If you hit one of those at top speed, the scooter will stop and you will fly over the top. Not gonna be pretty. Whose idea was that? I can't think of any other way to describe it really. It feels like it's got a legitimate, for lack of a better word, power band around like the halfway point. When you're halfway done accelerating, you can feel the scooter like nudge a little more in the acceleration area. Off-road, no, just no. Off-roading and wet conditions is not why you bought the scooter. If you plan on doing any sort of trail riding or riding to commuting when it's wet, I would steer away from this one. Go for something a little bit more waterproof. If I can complain about one little thing, which I think I might, this is a problem with any scooter that falls in that 30-pound category. I wish that the deck were just like an inch or two longer and that the front bars had a little more rake to them to give you a little more stability and give me a place for my foot to be. I've got size 13 feet, so it's not easy to find a spot to put my feet when I'm scooting. It just makes having that aggressive stance a lot more dangerous to have. Again, reiterating the fact that this is a commuter scooter. You're not meant to have an aggressive stance. You're not meant to ride this off-road. It's not a speed demon. It's a quick commuter. Those are the boxes that it checks. It's quick and it's portable. It's very lightweight. It's super easy and fast to fold up, and it's just around $1,000. This scooter is going to be for somebody who wants the option to have fun on their commute. They don't want to have to walk every day and take the bus every day. Some days when it's sunny, they want to take their scooter and they want to have fun doing it. That's what this scooter's for. It lends itself to the inexperienced users because it's really lightweight and nimble, but it's also got that suspension, so it's not going to throw you over the bars on a little crack. It doesn't have the crazy dual motorness or like plus 30 mile an hour speed that you're going to need to go on the road with the cars, so definitely bike lane friendly commuter. We can check out the turning radius. Turns pretty far. Not quite 90 degrees, but close. Probably 80. This isn't a scooter I'm going to jump downstairs. It's not a scooter I'm going to race anybody with, and I probably won't even ride in the road with cars, but it's got that zip. It's got that giddy up that makes things fun. There's scooters that you can commute on, and there's scooters that you can commute on that are fun. And this scooter has that fun factor. It just goes a little bit faster than what feels safe, you know? I like this thing. This is a fun scoot. Still got 70% power too, so it lasts a pretty long time. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to catch the range tests for this thing. It's got a 500 watt-hour battery and this huge 700 watt motor, so I'm really curious how far it's going to get on the range tests. Manufacturer alleges 20 plus miles. Okay everybody, that's going to conclude my unboxing and first impressions of this scooter, the E-TWOW GT SE. It's got a nice little fast top speed. It's a very torquey scooter, especially when the battery's full. I do really like the LCD display, and that suspension is really nice. I'm not just saying that, it's good. Things I'm not a huge fan of are the semi-wiggly stem and handlebar mechanism, but with the amount of portability this thing has, that's really just, you kind of have to live with that. It folds up into a super small profile in like 5-10 seconds. That's awesome. The rear fender looks pretty good. I got a little bit of testing in there. I didn't get any water on my pants. I like that it has the redundant friction brake in the back. It's got the hand brake, and it's also got the electromagnetic regen brake, but it also has that rear fender that you can just stomp on. In a worst case scenario situation, you can lock up the rear tire just by stomping on the brake, the rear fender there. This scooter is not for somebody who wants a dual motor power scooter, who's going to be looking for like extreme things or off-roading or any sort of jumps or riding in the wet or snow. This is not for you. It's also not for someone who just wants a basic commuter scooter. It's for somebody who wants a commuter scooter that's a little bit more. They want to be able to commute, maybe not every day, but on the days they do commute, they want to have fun. So this thing's torquey and zippy. It's not going to be waterproof. You will have to take the bus some days, but for those sunny days when you're really just fiending to get out on the scoot, this is going to be a great option. I'm not sure what the price for the scooter is right now at eWheels, but if you're interested on the latest specs and pricing, you can click on the link in the description. So yeah, that's it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos of the scooter, and I'll see you guys next time.